6:21 p.m. and we are officially calling the Inkster City Council's special City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Nolan, excuse. Mayor Pro Tem Chisholm.
Present.
Councilwoman Rutledge.
Present.
Councilman Bishop.
Present.
Councilwoman Scott. En route.
En route.
Yes. Councilwoman Howard.
Here.
And Councilwoman Richardson.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem, you do have a quorum?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are moving down to item number 3, approval of agenda. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the special City Council agenda?
Yeah.
All righty.
No.
No. Go right ahead. Take your time.
I don't have it.
You don't have it?
I emailed it.
We'll get you a copy.
It's one right over there. Could you have me?
Could you hand us one of those, please? Anybody? You need one as well? Or,
Yeah, I can get one here.
okay.
Thank you.
Need one more, or are we good?
I get it.
Good, okay. All righty.
So move on that?
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We're down to item 3A. Is that how it should be? Or should it-
It's just this. Darren.
So, okay.
Yep.
All right. Down to item A, discussion/action. Darren Carrington, Treasurer, study session of fiscal year 2027 budget. Mr. Carrington, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
As you guys know, we're starting the first of our budget sessions for fiscal year 26-27, or we just refer to it as fiscal year 27. So I want to thank you in advance for coming out on, we have this evening, and then we've got Friday morning scheduled. But again, just wanted to thank you guys for taking some time out of your schedules to go over this information.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? You said Friday morning?
Friday morning. Is that news to you?
Meeting.
Okay.
We talked about it at the last meeting. Oh, you won't be here?
I didn't say anything. I just said okay.
So yeah, we did notice the meeting for Friday at 10 a.m. I believe is when we had
We need to change it.
set the.
Will we have a quorum?
We'll work it out. We'll work it out. We're good. We're good. I just was asking a question.
Okay, all right.
We're good.
Are you gonna be here? No.
Okay, let's get down
saying.
to item 5, and we'll talk about that particular date at that time.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry about that. Thank
No
you.
problem. Glad I mentioned it. I have the recommended budget for this the upcoming fiscal year, FY27. Before you have the Fund 101, which is the general fund. It's my hope that we can cover that this evening. Don't want to be here all night, but we'd like to get through Fund 101 as far as we possibly can, and then at our next session, get into some of the other funds and everything. As we get started, I know the mayor's not here, but did want to kind of do a couple things. One is to give you an update on where we are with some of the financial reporting. And then also, before we kind of delve into the details of the budget, wanted to kind of give you what I consider to be our overview of what kind of is going on big picture with the budget and everything, and kind of set the stage for the details within the recommended budget. So first up, in terms of, and this is kind of giving an update on the overall financial situation. We have been working in earnest, as you guys know, we're behind on a couple of audits. We've been working in earnest on getting the, and those are the FY24 and FY25 audits. We've been working within the Treasury Department, myself, our financial manager, Regina, the departments, particularly water and sewer, to get the FY24 and the FY25 budget completed. We're about at the end of our documenting all of that fiscal year, and that's the fiscal year that would have ended June 30th, 24. We've been working, as you guys know, we have the firm Manor out of Lansing as kind of our accounting consultants. It was that firm who replaced Plant Moran, and our auditors who have been working with us for a few years did the most recent completed audit and are working on this audit is Raymond. So we've been working on that. Wanted to kind of give you some insight as to why this has taken the length of time that it's taken, and kind of how we're working, how we're moving forward and everything. And so, we got the 23 audit completed. We have a lot of incomplete data within our system. And what I mean is not all of the transactions have been completely and accurately captured. We used the BS&A accounting system, and between the transactions that we process through there and transactions that we make electronically, online, and whatnot, one of the key things we have to do is make sure everything is documented completely and accurately is how I like to say that. And what that means is making sure we've captured all the transactions that are done on the bank are captured within BS&A, and that those transactions in BS&A are where they should be. If you go back to the timeline of 2023, the city's longtime consultant, Plant Moran, left. We had probably a 6 or 7 month period where we didn't have a full-time treasurer, and there was just some significant turnover within the finance and treasury areas. And so it created months of what I would just term as really not quality or best practice in terms of the data and transactions. Alongside of that, we've seen a significant increase in 2 areas. One is the grants, and the other thing is in terms of our capital expenditures, primarily on the water sewer side. And so not only were we not at that time capturing the transactions correctly, we were seeing a lot more of these transactions flowing through the city at really, I think at a level that we probably have never seen at the city when it comes to grants and the capital projects. I don't know if Jerome, if you would kind of term it like that in terms of the capital projects that you've been doing the last few years.
Oh, yeah. This is the most the city's seen in my 30 years here.
Yeah. And so, again, we've had just the amount of activity and just getting our arms around that. And so, coming from that 23-24 period, I think we've made a lot of progress. We've gotten some new staff in place. We've split, because for several years we had the accounts payable and our payroll functions combined. We split those. We've really worked with our external consultants in the state to make sure we're taking steps to really, again, strengthen up the procedures and policies that we've got in place. In terms of the work that we're doing on the accounting side. And so I feel a lot better about where we are, but we're having to go through and just catch up on a lot of things that did not occur over the last couple of years. And so that's really just, again, taking a significant amount of time. But, I think the bulk of the work is kind of in our rearview mirror now. As I said, we've gotten pretty much probably 85% of the pre-audit information that our accountants need in order to complete the pre-audit process and turn everything over to the auditors. So it's our hope that sometime by the end of the summer, we'll be in a position to either have that FY24 audit completed or very close to getting complete. Once that's done, we're going to be rolling right into the FY25 audit. Our plan is to work with the consultants once we turn everything over to them for FY24. Part of their team is going to be working on the pre-audit work for that, and then we're going to start working on getting all the documents necessary for the FY25. So we're going to really kind of have a dual effort going on, with the goal being to get those 2 audits completed by the end of the year. So That will kind of get us caught up, but then we have the fact that the FY26, which will be ending soon, puts us right back on the clock. But we feel a lot better about the FY26 information and data, and we think that will be getting us close to being back on a normal process and a normal timeline when it comes to the audit. The unfortunate thing is, without all of that information, we have not been able to provide the up-to-date information that we would normally be providing on a monthly basis. Based on where we are, we think and we expect starting in July 1 of this year, we'll be able to restart our regular monthly reporting for the current fiscal year. Now, we may not have complete data for FY26, but we should have good numbers for both FY24 and pretty good numbers for FY25. They'll be preliminary, but there'll be some pretty decent information. But you know, the goal was for us to get back in a position where we could start with the regular reporting for FY27, and we think we'll be able to do that come July 1, which means by August we'll start with that monthly reporting for the prior month. And you know, we expect through the summer, again, we'll have the audits, and then we'll get back on track when it comes to our monthly reporting. So just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on that. If there are any questions specifically on that, just wanted to turn it over to you all. Councilwoman?
Okay, I just want to get clarity here. So 23, 24, 25, the audits, those are incomplete.
So the FY23 audit is done.
Okay, that's done.
We're working on the FY24 audit. That's the one we're looking to get, we're trying to get that one completed no later than the early fall is our target with that.
Okay, may I ask how many staff members you have?
So we share, from a budgetary standpoint, we share some employees with the Water Sewer Department, but within the Treasury, we have myself, we have a finance manager, Regina, we have our accounts payable person. As you know, the assessor is outsourced, but he's here, works on a regular basis. He's here in the office 1 day a week. We've got 2 cashiers that are full-time at the window. We have 1 water analyst, and we have a billing supervisor. So I didn't count all those. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I want to say, plus the assessor.
Yes,
8.
So when you're doing the audits, who helps you with those?
So within Treasury, it's myself and Regina. We, because a lot of we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for water and sewer.
Right.
So Jerome and Maya, because we have to get a lot of, they're asking for a lot of the information on this money that we spend on the water and sewer construction. So it's myself, Regina, we have several folks from Manor, and then we work a lot with DPS, primarily Maya, Jerome, and Carrie are the ones that we're working for. Because right now we're focused on just going through, because all those construction projects, they have to get added to the city's balance sheet. And so the accountants are very specific in terms of wanting to see, the money that went out and the, invoices and everything associated with that.
I have a question. Go right ahead. You finished? Okay, so and the 2024 audit is not completed. How does that affect us for getting state share revenue
So
for that year?
So we have started to have some revenue sharing put on hold. So some revenue sharing gets released. I believe it's the constitutional revenue sharing gets released. It's the other payments that are held up. We started experiencing that within the last several months. as well as some of the road funds, I believe, are held up, some of the Act 51 funds. I did have a conversation with the state this week just to kind of go over the process, because they're working with us in terms of getting the audit caught up. And they communicated that, you know, if we can get that FY24 audit, even though the FY25 audit, you know, is late technically at this point, that they expect that they could be releasing those funds that are being held up. So they're just working with us to get that that FY24 audit, get that completed as quickly as possible.
So in this, before you start going in the revenue side on the general fund, is those revenue shares included in this, or did not? You didn't
So
put it in?
I have included those because we do have, you know, pretty firm estimates on what those are.
Okay.
It's kind of up to the accountants how those are reflected. We've had some preliminary discussions because a lot of times they'll set up like a receivable. We'll recognize the revenue, but it will be, you know, set up as a receivable. But that's kind of, you know, up to the auditors as we go through that audit and everything, and you know, identifying what you know, what funds have been held up and how they want to recognize that. But for purposes of this, we have included those funds because they are, you know, we have a clear number in terms of what those numbers, what those revenue sharing numbers are, or for FY27, what the estimates are for those.
Okay, I just have one more question. Well, this is a thought maybe. When you do our budget books, now I know years ago, they used to put each department down, like in the first of the book, the
Yes.
first pages of the book, and it would put down all the
Employees?
employees.
Yes.
So then that way we can have a count of
Okay.
what we have. Can we include that in that budget book?
I can add that for sure.
Okay,
Is that the personnel cost summary?
yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and then it's
Yeah.
got all the people's names up under there.
Or at
and
least their
departments-
titles.
Departments and how
Yeah.
much they get paid or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm all done, Mr. Chair.
Alrighty. Anybody else to my left at this time? Anybody to my right? No?
So next, I want to just kind of talk about the what I would consider to be just kind of the big picture with the city, with the budget, kind of what the what I would consider to be the, you know, the financial environment for the city. I did pass out a couple of pages with this document here, and you know, I think you guys have probably heard this before from a number of different sources, but you know, the reality is, you know, like a lot of cities in Michigan and communities across the country, you know, we're dealing with some very, you know, very serious constraints. You know, we're constrained in terms of what we can do on the revenue side, and we're constantly getting more demands in terms of how we would expend our money. And so it creates a pretty challenging environment. You know, unlike the federal government, we just can't, you know, we can't run deficits, and we can't, you know, look to raise revenue. You know, we're kind of limited in what we can do from a revenue perspective in terms of the overall state law and everything. Our two biggest sources of revenue are property taxes and revenue sharing. The good news is, I think there's two good things that have occurred. And the first, we're talking about the revenue sharing. As you guys will recall, about a year and a half or so ago, the state made some adjustments in the formula that they were doing for revenue sharing, and it generated a pretty significant bump in the revenue sharing that we were receiving. On that slide where I've got revenue sharing, I list the last 5 years, the last 4 years, along with the estimates for next fiscal year. And you can see back in 23, we were at 4.457 million. We were at 4.5 million in 24, and then in 25, we saw a pretty significant jump. It went up to 6.37 million. We've and now part of revenue sharing, one of the big components is going to be the sales tax. So, as the sales tax, as the economy kind of slows down, people aren't buying as much, you can see decreases in the revenue sharing, and that's kind of what we're seeing in 26 and 27. We see that it went up in 25, but it's went down a little bit in 26 to just a little bit more than 6 million, and now in 27, the projection is for us to be at right at just under $6 million. Again, I think that's just based on what the state treasury and the economists are projecting for primarily the revenue coming from the sales tax. But the good news is, if you look at from 23 to 27, just comparing those years, we see an increase of $1.4 million, and that's a percentage increase of 33%. So it's good news. If we had not seen that revenue sharing, we've gotten over, we've probably gotten close to $5 million over the last 3 years, just an additional revenue coming in just due to that one change in the revenue sharing formula. We've also seen a couple other things in recent years. We've seen the state just recently instituted a revenue sharing program for public safety, and we'll cover that. I think we've got a couple $100,000 out of that, and the marijuana tax as well. That's been yielding. We're looking at close to $500,000. I think we got about $487,000 for the current fiscal year, and projected about $500,000 for next fiscal year. So these are all either new revenue streams or increased revenue streams. It's really benefited the city. I think it avoided us having to make some draconian cuts. But the thing to keep in mind is that these things are not necessarily etched in stone. They can be changed, or we can see some decline in them. Revenue sharing is somewhat of a function of what the legislature approves on a year-to-year basis. There is the constitutional component, but you have that year-to-year basis. And then some of the things with public safety, that was a new one that was kind of put in from a legislative standpoint. And so just as the state gives, they can always take away. But these are some areas that, we have seen some improvement that has certainly helped out with the city's general fund budget. The next thing I wanted to touch on was what's kind of going on with our property taxes, and primarily with the values in the city. I think everyone is aware that we've seen a significant increase over the last several years in the property values in the city. As you know, most times assessed value is going to grow quicker than taxable value, because taxable value is capped at how fast it can grow. But we've still seen taxable value grow, and taxable value is going to increase by a couple ways. One is just the assessed value. Somebody is in that home, the assessed value increases. It may be capped, because generally it can't increase any more than inflation. But then you have situations where homes are being sold, and what they refer to as unlocking. So that's where we can see sometimes some significant increases in taxable value. I share some numbers from the last 5 years. You've seen that the city has in some years has experienced 19 and 20% growth in the assessed value. This past year, we estimate the change at about 10%. It's taken us from 316 million assessed value to over 600 million, almost a 100% increase in that. The taxable value hasn't increased as much, again, because of the state law, which caps how quickly the properties can grow in many instances. But we have seen, in some instances, high single digits or low double digit increases. And in 5 years, we've seen a 33% increase in taxable value. So that's the good news. But as you know, and as we'll get into, these things are necessary oftentimes just for us to keep up with the increased costs that we're seeing. A lot of our costs are related to what we have to do in terms of employees. The city has made significant cuts over the last 10, 15 years, and there's not a lot of areas where we can significantly cut. We try to maintain a certain salary structure so we can retain the employees that we have. And then there's other things that can drive up cost, insurance cost, energy cost, just regular costs that, everyone is dealing with on a daily basis. The city incurs some of those same costs. But as I said, the good news is just that, we have seen some favorable improvements in particular areas when we look at some specific items on the revenue side. So wanted to share that picture with you. The next thing that I wanted to cover is, and then I'll pause after this and see if you guys have any questions. As I mentioned, the city's been really seeing an increased amount of grants. And it's really been a very key thing. One of the things that the city we've not been able to do for a number of years is what I would consider to be, proper maintenance and investment in some of our plant and capital buildings and that type of stuff. We've been fortunate over the last few years to get a number of very important grants that have either addressed some serious needs that we've had, along with helping us avoid some significant investments that we would have eventually had to have made, or we would have to have make some very tough decisions. And so I share with you kind of a list of our outstanding grants. A lot of these are again, things that are more capital in nature. So one is the senior wing. As you guys are aware, that project has been going on for the past year. That's a brand new $2.5 million addition to the recreation center. We've got a number of other things that are going on. We've got some energy efficient upgrades. We got a grant for $100,000 for us to do some energy efficiency upgrades around at all city facilities. We have our LEAP program. That's the lead and service program where they're covering the full cost of 3 employees for us to work with our residents and making replacements to certain lead service lines. We got a $900,000 grant for capital upgrades over at the recreation center. We've just recently completed a new roof for $500,000 over there. We're making probably $100,000 plus repairs to the elevator, and then we're looking to do some other improvements with that $900,000. We've got a significant grant for a pretty major renovation over at Wheatley Park, just under $1 million with that. We expect that that's going to be coming online in the next year or so. I'm sorry, the next month or so. And then the city's cultural center over on, is that Michigan Avenue?
Inkster Road.
On Inkster Road, thank you.
The old library.
Where we've got a grant from the state to make improvements to that building for a cultural center over there. And then lastly, we've got a pretty significant grant for cybersecurity, which will help us make some improvements in the area of cybersecurity, and we also expect that that's going to be used to cover the cost of some new computer equipment for city employees. And so, many of these help us avoid costs that we probably needed to occur, we eventually would have had to have incurred at some point in time. So, wanted to share these with you. Again, I think this level of activity is something that we haven't really seen before, in terms of the capital investment that's going on. And we're doing everything we can to make sure we're utilizing every dollar as wisely as possible. So most of these have been before you, but I just wanted to put them into one document just to give you a sense of what's going on both in the current fiscal year and what are some of the things that will be going on in the upcoming fiscal year.
Thank you. Council members, do you have any questions at this time regarding the information that Mr. Carrington has covered? Councilman Bishop?
Yes, I have a question. So on the top of the sheet, it says FY '26 and then FY '27. Some has yes, some has no. So is that saying, okay, for 2026, that grant is still available or no, or?
That means really where the monies are going to be expended. So, for example, the senior wing, we think all those monies are going to be done in FY26.
Okay.
So that's the yes. The energy efficient upgrades, we won't spend any of that this fiscal year. That's going to be all in next fiscal year.
Okay.
Some of these other programs are going to be, money we're spending this fiscal year as well as we'll be spending it next fiscal year.
Anything further, Councilman Bishop?
I have a quick question. So we were saying, oh, never mind. You answered it. I'm assuming it's a no for the Wheatley Park renovation, like in the FY '27.
Yeah, I think we expect that to be done by
I
Joe.
was thinking, okay.
Is that all at this time? Okay. Anybody else to my right? No. Anybody to my left?
You have a question, D?
I do. For the grants, well, no, first, back when you were talking about the revenue sharing.
Yes.
And you did mention at the beginning that there were some revenue sharings that was on hold,
Correct.
which is Act 51 funds. What else is on
So,
hold?
so we have some of our constitutional revenue sharing that's being held, or statutory revenue sharing. We have the Act 51, which are road funds. Act 51 is the gas tax road funds. So under state law, we're required to file the audits by a certain time. And if you miss that if you miss those deadlines, or somewhere, they give you a little bit of a buffer, but at some point, after a certain point in time, the state will start withholding those payments. So we're kind of in that we're kind of in that zone right now. But as I mentioned, we've had communications. We update the state pretty regularly in terms of our progress, and they've kind of communicated to us that upon us getting that FY24 audit completed, we'll see release of those funds.
So there's only two that's on hold.
Two types of funds, correct? Yeah, it's the Act 51, and then a certain part of the revenue sharing.
Okay. Did you include that in on this other sheet where you got revenue sharing? You have these totals here?
So it's included there because
included?
Yeah, because the payments, whether the likelihood is, regardless of when we get them, we know how much is coming, and oftentimes the accountants will have us recognize that within the fiscal year just to give us a more accurate portrayal of what's really going on and everything.
Okay. I see the list of your grants here, on here. So we don't have that sidewalk grant. Wasn't that a grant to improve sidewalks? That's not a grant. What is that?
It is a grant.
It is a grant, and that's,
We didn't get it for FY27.
okay. Is there a specific reason why we didn't get it?
No, they just.
Did we apply for it? Is it?
Yeah, we applied for it, they just denied us.
They denied us? Can we ask for a hearing?
I don't think we can.
That's the state of Michigan, correct?
It's
Is that
through-
federal
It's
or state?
It's through SimCom,
SIM card?
yeah. So it's federal.
Federal.
We are applying for FY28 though. We are applying again for FY28.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Right.
So we won't have a sidewalk program in 27. No. We'll finish up 26, but we won't have a sidewalk program for 27. Yep. Unless we vote to have the residents put it on their tax bill.
No,
So, yeah.
maybe
so
there's
we won't.
another agency we can look at.
Councilwoman Howard?
Oh, I'm done. I don't
You
have a
good?
question. Thank you.
Okay.
I do
Turn your
have
mic on, please.
one more,
Like
please.
that's your own question. Is there a way that we can roll like parts of the sidewalk, like restoration in these other projects that we have doing? Because I see like a lot of them, like we're tearing up streets, we're tearing up sidewalks anyway. Is there, like, can we just like add that in
They're part of the
there?
overall project that we're doing. So
Okay.
those get replaced. And then the ones we tear up on water main breaks, those get replaced through our restoration.
Okay.
And we do some concrete minor patching on streets as you drive around, you see couple of the minor patches, but nothing major,
Okay.
because it's budget constraints, so I do it within the budget. I have like, I think I have $450,000 on water, from water and roads to do the restoration work on the water main breaks and whatever minor work I can do.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask one more?
Go right ahead.
The cultural center, so I take it was awarded in 2022? Is that what this,
Yeah, so what I can recall is that I believe we've gotten 2 separate grants for the cultural center. And so I believe one was, the first one, excuse me, the first one was awarded back in '22. We didn't start work for several years. I think there was, is that where we did the white boxing? Is that the,
Yeah, we did, we white boxed the whole library, we cleaned it out and got it painted and then locked it up.
and then,
We didn't do any more work to
yeah,
2024.
24, I think it was, yeah.
24?
24 and 25.
And then Mr. Carrington stated we did get another grant this year,
Yeah, second one.
the second one for.
How much is
yeah.
that for?
I believe that's another 600,000. I'll get that confirmed.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Alrighty, so I do have 2 or 3 questions. Where the first line item, where in parentheses, this grant name that says senior wing.
Yes.
I see the award amount is $2.5 million, but it says the current balance is $2 million. Never mind, I answered my own question. Going on to the next one. The elevator at the rec, when you talked about repairs, is that just upgrading it? Is that fixing what's wrong? How long is the life expectancy, and will we be revisiting the same thing again?
It's a total replacement.
Total replacement. Oh,
It's
great.
say repairs, but that's the original elevator. So
Since
it has-
1977, huh?
Yep, so it has to be brought, as the fire chief is down there so eloquently, it has to be brought up to code. 'Cause
Thank you.
I don't want to deal with the fire chief.
Alrighty.
Total replacement, yes.
Great, thank you. And then last one for the grants, cybersecurity. I see it says FEMA/MSP. Just in my head, I was thinking MSP meant something along the lines of dealing with the police department or anything with public safety.
You know, the cybersecurity grant, is Michigan State Police involved with that grant?
I'm not sure because I did not participate or help prepare that grant, so I'm not sure. I would assume so because, go, you got it.
Anytime you're involved with FEMA, FEMA has an MSP officer that's over it for the state of Michigan. Like we got all that money when we had the flood,
Yeah.
we go through MSP. So they have a liaison to FEMA.
Was that
That's why it says MSP /
what was his name? Studmeyer or something like that?
Oh, it's changed. It's
Oh, it's
a
changed.
lady now.
Okay.
It used to be the guy that's the colonel now.
Okay.
He was our liaison, and we went through another one. Now we got a new one.
Okay.
But I'm still wrapping up FEMA money for 2019.
Oh, that was 19. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why you see MSP on there, because they are the liaison for the state of Michigan that represents FEMA.
That was 2019, and to my racking up money from that. Was that big storm
Yep.
that everybody got hit with, and they talked about the Ecorse Creek and all of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you. That's all I have. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I don't have anything.
Oh,
Can you fix your,
down. Okay.
Okay.
All set?
All set.
Okay.
Sir. Thank you.
That being said, let's, 7 o'clock, let's go ahead and get started with the general fund. Generally, we just kind of walk through the detailed general ledger accounts. I try to focus on things that I consider to be material or things that may have some particular, information or whatnot going on. But if there's any questions, just let's just stop as we go through. I'll just kind of, like to deal with the questions as we kind of come across each of these items. As we get into the general fund, I do want to remind us that for all of our city bargaining units, All of the union contracts will be expiring at the end of next month. That was by design, just to kind of give the city a sense of where we are financially. So these numbers don't include anything that projects out what the union negotiations may, the direction that they may go, and what eventually, if and when an agreement is reached, those contracts will be becoming in front of you. We will have to address any kind of increased cost associated with that. So just wanted to kind of make that broad statement there. So first up, we're starting with the revenues. You can see the column headings. I'm going to be focused on the column on the far right, which is the recommended column. And I'll just kind of walk down, again, through each of these particular categories. So first is our property taxes. We're projecting a slight increase there. As I mentioned, we've seen some continued increases in our both assessed value and taxable value, and we've seen a pretty steady increase in our property taxes. So we're using a figure of about $4.853 million for purposes of the recommended budget. The Wayne County delinquent is somewhat of a moving target, but just kind of based on some of the historical numbers, that's the amount that we've included the amount of $375,000 in there. The county's been trying to really increase the amount of collections on delinquent to avoid foreclosures. So, based on prior trends, we're kind of following the historical growth with that. Next, we have some pilot payments, and so we have a couple of different types of pilot payments. We break them into two categories. The first one is just a straight pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes. That's something where where there's a legal steps are taken to put in place and adopt a pilot. The second category is pilot contractual. Generally, that's going to involve something where we negotiate with a developer or an investor, and because there's some underlying reason, usually there's some type of nonprofit involved, there's some type of larger reasoning behind the development, we'll enter into a contractual pilot payment. And so that's really the differences between, not much of a difference. They're both payments to the city that are made by some type of property owner that's not subject to property taxes, whether it's by law or by a negotiated contract between the city and the property owner.
Councilwoman Rutledge and then Councilwoman Howard.
Darren, who makes up this pilot contractual?
So we have like Cherry Hill Apartments. So we have a number of the senior apartments and so a lot of times the programs that are done through MISTA, the State Housing Authority, will be a pilot. The development on Michigan Avenue, what's the guy's name?
Development on Michigan Avenue, give us a...
The state, that's a state building. Remember the guy who did the... Bogie, the Bogie development. That's one of our contractual properties. I'm sorry, that's one of our pilot properties. We've got the housing, that new program, that new development over there is going to be a pilot as well.
The one on Annapolis?
What's that?
The one on Annapolis?
No. With the public housing, the Inkster housing.
Okay.
That because they're partnering with a private sector developer, and they've been working with the city. I think they may have even brought one of the agreements to the council already. But that's a pilot as well. But those are some of the ones. So, a lot of the MISTA projects, the apartments, Cherry Hill, and some other ones fall under that category.
When you talking about Cherry Hill, I'm sorry. When you talking about Cherry Hill apartments, that's the one in Middle Belt and Cherry Hill, right?
You know, I always talk about these things. I just see them on paper. But it's Cherry Hill Square. Is it Cherry Hill Square?
Is it the same?
Well, that's the tall high rise on it.
You talking about a middle belt in Cherry Hill?
Senior high rise.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that Cherry Hill Square?
No.
Okay.
The squares between, and in between.
Henry Road. Cherry Hill.
Where's down there by Henry
What's the-
Road?
Okay.
Oh, what's the,
Yeah, 213 Henry Road.
Yeah.
Cherry Hill
You're
Square?
talking about the high-rise apartments where, the Coopers used to live, where the Coopers live.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's state and private.
What about those next door? What are those townhouses next door to?
Oh, the ones next door to it.
What are those?
Those lower ones on Falker Drive and something
What
else.
are those?
That's a great question.
The townhouses next to
Just have to
Cherry
get some
Hill.
list on all of
Yeah, I'll pull some of the information because, like I said, I just kind of see a lot of times they have in their name, you know, so it may not necessarily tie to the actual what's kind of known by the public. A lot of times they'll have kind of a twist
Yeah, they're
on.
kind of like townhouses though.
Yeah.
Right next door.
But I know one of the big ones is it's a Cherry it's a development with Cherry Hill in the name. It's one of the big ones, and I know Bogey's another one.
So, all right, Councilwoman Rutledge, you were asking about that, and go ahead and continue, please.
Is there a cap, a time limit on this in terms of how long that they make these payments to the city, or is it just forever?
You know, so the contractual ones would be subject to the contract with the city, and generally those are going to just be open, and because the idea is that the developer understands that they're going to be avoiding property taxes, but they're still getting city services. So the expectation generally is for them to continue on with those payments and not have a set time limit with it, because it's designed to replace property taxes. That's the purpose of the payment, because those developments don't pay property taxes. And that's kind of the name, a payment in lieu of taxes. That's kind of the.
Yep, I got that part of it. I just was wondering, was there some kind of end date to this? But it seems like that this goes on.
Forever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Thompson Towers and stuff like that, like those type of.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we kind of had went through this with, if I'm not mistaken, Cherry Hill, the one at Middle Belt and Inkster Road, because they changed ownership. And so I think it kind of sort of went with the owner, because we had to even discuss it when it wasn't anything we had discussed in so long.
Yeah.
And they was trying to do some renovations there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They came before us because they were trying to do some renovation.
Anything further, Councilwoman? All right, anybody else to my right? No?
I want to ask one question.
All right,
I'm sorry.
ahead.
And I'm back up here to Brownfield Capture in Tiffin. We are still, so I take it we still subsidizing for them?
So we are still having to subsidize on the capture. We have paid, and I'll as we get into some of the other funds, I'll be giving a list of the overall debt service. We did pay off one of the longstanding bonds just this year, but those what you're talking about, the city is still having to subsidize some of that debt service because the captures are not enough to cover the debt service.
And that's what we had talked about at our last council meeting, that we can get Tifa back going, Brownfield.
Yeah,
And then we can try to get funds, revenues in, that will
the
offset
DDA
this.
and all that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And I know nobody else to the right. And Councilwoman Howard, are you completed?
Yes.
Okay, Councilwoman Richardson.
I'm good.
All righty. All righty.
All right. So next we have that advertising of 50,000. That's kind of a state law that allows you to levy a special millage. Specifically, it's a very small millage because under state law can generate no more than 50,000. But we do each year look to take advantage of that. We've got the marijuana tax, as I mentioned, a fairly new revenue source that's come online in the last several years that's, still generating an increased amount of revenue, small but pretty, stable growth there. We're looking at, this year we collected 487,000, and next year, projecting a slight increase, just using an estimate of just about $500,000. Next, we have a number of different, some of the fees tied to the property taxes that are listed there.
Question for you real quick, I'm sorry. With that state marijuana excise tax, how do those payments come in? Are they quarterly? Are they,
I believe we
Once
just
a
get
year?
one annual payment.
One annual
Yeah, I think
payment.
we just get one annual payment.
I was just wondering just because how those state budgets are weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like in arrearages, if it was current,
I want to say we just got a payment. I think the payment was determined in February.
Okay.
And we would have gotten a payment, shortly, sometime thereafter.
Gotcha.
But I can, I can confirm that. But I'm pretty sure we only get one. It's not like they pay us every, like revenue sharing is done every other month. You get
Okay.
the revenue sharing, but the marijuana tax, it's a one annual payment each year.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Thank you.
Okay, so the next category is state grants. I didn't put anything in there. That's one of the things that we're really having to spend a lot of time in sorting out. As I mentioned, we got a number of grants that are coming in for the last few years. We're going to be kind of when I say separating it out, moving it to the correct fiscal year. Making sure that it's in the correct fiscal year. So as we move through with the audit process, we'll have a little bit more clarity. And as I mentioned, we're going to be doing the monthly reporting. As we get that information, we'll update those monthly reports to show where those grants are falling, whether it's FY24, FY25, 26, 27. But the thing to keep in mind is that there are some costs that are in here that are tied to the grant, because there's some numbers that have shown up on the city's books for approved projects, but we haven't fully captured the revenues at this time. But we will be, as we go through the audit process, we will be doing that. But right now, we're just kind of leaving that state grant number blank because it's just too large of a moving target for us right now. Then we got a couple other revenue items. The local community stabilization, that's kind of the replacement for the personal property tax. Then we've got the revenue sharing, the constitutional state share revenue that we talked about a little earlier. Again, we're projecting just under $6 million of that. Slightly off from the last, it's been down the last couple years, primarily because of the economy slowing down a little bit. But it is up pretty significantly over the years prior to that, going back 2-3 years prior. So we're still enjoying some increases from that change in the formula. The next couple categories are some things where we've got interest and investment income from some of the city's investments. Then we've got rental revenue for, there's a couple parcels that the city rents out. Then we've got our administrative fees. And there we charge, because we spend a lot of time, what I would consider to be the central / City Hall employees, and this is an annual thing, because of all the costs that are incurred centrally. That's time that for our grants department, time for the attorneys, costs that are borne by the general fund. We try to spread those costs out for time that are spent working for the water and sewer, working for road projects, working on the different funds. We charge what we refer to as administrative fee. And it's the thought is for us to capture all the time and money that's spent on other funds for expenses that are coming out and through the general fund. So those are those administrative fees. They are pretty significant. You know, we're talking almost $1.5 million. So it is a pretty significant amount of revenue that we see from there. And so, for this category, we're looking at about just under $14.5 million, not counting the state and federal grants. That's just primarily coming from property taxes, the revenue sharing, and the administrative fees. So we've got to figure about $14.65 million there. Okay. Next, we have our revenues by department. First is going to be the court, and we just try to track. We try to track the prior years and see what kind of trend is going on, and come up with an estimate that we think is a fairly realistic one. So the big thing for the court is going to be the fines and forfeitures. We're using a estimate of $850,000 for FY27. That number could go up. We're combing through some of the financial details, trying to sort out. We had a problem with how those funds were being reported. They weren't being properly captured for a couple of years. We sorted it out in the FY23. We've got it sorted out for FY24, and we're combing through the FY25 numbers. And so in FY24 was $800,000. We expect that number is going to go up in FY25 and possibly even in FY26. But for right now, we're going to be careful in terms of what we use. We think $850,000 is a good number, and in all likelihood, I expect that number is going to go up. And so as we kind of move through our financial reporting, that number, is likely to increase, the $850,000 number, as well as the $800,000 projected for this current fiscal year.
And Mr. Carrington, once you finish section 136, we are going to break for a brief moment before we begin at 137.
All right, sounds good.
Mr.
Go right ahead.
You haven't gotten to this, the court revenue from the county. Can you explain that? I know you will, Rob. Why is it negative?
I don't know. It's a small amount. Some of that could just be a reporting thing. I'm not. Generally we when we collect fines at the court, a certain percentage of those funds go to the county, and we generally don't record those on the general fund. This could just be a situation where we had to make a correction and recorded a small negative amount just to get that amount to reflect the correct number. Because again, generally the way that it works is that we will, for the most part, not put any revenues tied to the county. We generally won't put those into our budget.
So is that the same thing under the recovery of duplicate check payments?
Yeah, the recovery of a duplicate check payment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that looks like it was just a one-time thing back in 24, where there was some type of double payment that was made, and so we had to record some type of entry to. We probably recorded the $14,971 in the prior year as revenue, and then we had to effectively reverse it in FY24.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anybody else at this time? No? Alrighty. So that's it for section 136, revenues?
Yep.
Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is 7:20. And we will go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back in, say, 10 minutes. Is that good for everyone? All right, so 7:30, we'll be right back. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the time is 7:40 p.m. And we're gonna go ahead and come back off of our break and pick up at section 137, which is the courts. Mr. Carrington, you have the floor.
Okay, and Councilmember Bishop had made an observation. The department numbers are listed, but not the department names. So I'll have to make that update. I kind of know by the number. I can tell you, but they generally the name is usually listed. So 137 that's the court community service. Not too much activity goes on in there. At one point in time, it used to maintain some employees and the like down there. But by and large, we aren't using that for anything. So I'll move on down to. No, so on the yeah, so on the expense side, there's still, this is just on the revenue side. There's not much revenue coming through there, so that's just strictly revenue. They are, the court is certainly utilizing the that cleanup capacity, and they've actually even had some discussions with the city, talking about how we can work together to identify areas of blight. So that activity is still going on. You'll see those people out in the community. Okay. So the next category is primarily our franchise fees. These are fees that are generated off cable bills, both Comcast and AT&T. Thing to keep in mind is that these things are going down as people viewing habits change. A lot of people are streaming. Some people have illegal types of services and stuff.
People have illegal services.
I didn't say any names, right, Chief? I didn't say anybody. But these numbers are declining. Not just, these are only for people who have what I would consider the more traditional Comcast cable. Years ago, when technology was kind of at the stage where cable was only being provided generally by one provider, most people didn't have many options. And so these revenues are kind of going down. So we kind of monitor those. They just don't generate as much of a revenue stream as they used to, primarily just due to the viewing habits of people in Inkster and across the country. Next, we've got our some of our licensing fees and everything there. Business registration is going to be the biggest one that's generated with that. Then we've got fees that are collected by the Treasury Department. These are generally going to be things associated with some type of requests that come in for final tax bills, final water bills. Anytime there's a transaction, a lot of times there's a request for documentation with that. And so those are the fees that are in 253. Those are that's the Treasury Department. 266 are the property tax judgments. Don't have anything scheduled for the upcoming fiscal year.
Thank God, that's a good one.
301 is going to be the fire department, police department, I'm sorry. So you see a number of revenues for there. Inkster housing reimbursement, we have an officer that's deployed over at the Inkster housing. So we do book revenues from that department, from the housing commission, and 301, the police department revenue stream. And then we see a number of things such as 911 fees, different reports, and fines, and they're all kind of listed there. And you can kind of see the the numbers that are tied to those respective fees and everything.
Mr. Harrison,
Go ahead, Councilwoman Howard.
for 911 fees, are we still using Westland?
The
Are we in
Dearborn.
Okay.
So
okay.
that's for our dispatch services.
Yes.
These are revenues that generally come from Western Wayne, through the Western Wayne Conference.
Okay, okay.
So these are a kind of like a reimbursement or something that we get for 911.
Okay.
Yeah. But when we get down to the police department, we do still use the city of Dearborn for dispatch services.
Okay.
And we pay them on a monthly basis for that.
Quick question for you, Mr. Carrington, on the Inkster housing reimbursement. And just satisfy my memory. Let's put it that way. I thought initially, and maybe it changed, the contractual conversations were like $100,000 for Inkster housing for the officer, or was that just preliminary until the actual numbers?
Yeah, I researched that in the last week. So it is $90,000. I can't recall exactly how it was written, but like we have one officer and we can bill up to $90,000. So if the officer's only, if they only get paid like 75, then it's 75. But we've been reaching that the last 2 years. We have reached that $90,000 mark. And then there also are there's some language in there about costs associated for a vehicle as well.
Gotcha.
But it is $90,000.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Which one would like code enforcement and like those fines fall under?
Those are generally going to come through the court.
The court, okay.
Yes. Yep. Those are because those tickets that they write are then considered to be civil and go through the court. Yep. Okay. Next, we have revenues for Department 337, which is the fire department. There's rental revenues that are over there. Big item here is going to be the revenues that are generated from our city in the department's ambulance services. Been pretty consistent with those figures, and we're looking at this year. I think we're looking at about a projected $1 million. And I think we're running about $90,000 a month on the most recent numbers. So.
Do we still have, I know we had it once, do we still have that special ambulance that has something different on it?
ALS?
Yeah.
So we don't run ALS anymore.
Okay.
We're strictly BLS. What you're talking about, we have that large mobile health unit what that 13,200 is. They lease a space in the fire department and they park their mobile health, Henry Ford.
Okay.
Mobile health unit we have there.
Okay.
But yeah, we average about 90,000 a month revenue for our EMS.
Thank you.
Excuse me. May I ask the question? I know you're on the fire. For the police.
Yes.
They used to do raids and they confiscate fur coats and televisions.
She said, can I get one?
These are the fur coat.
She wants to know when the auction is coming.
Right, exactly.
They still do that?
So we
Cars?
do, we are actually planning to do an auction sometime this summer.
Oh, cool.
So
Hello.
we'll keep you posted.
Okay, for coats.
See,
Asking you shall receive, huh?
Right.
Sylvia used to do it all the time.
Before my time.
I know you a baby. You a baby.
Okay, so next is going to be the building department 371. This is going to be the various building permits and everything. We've seen some, seen a lot of continued, and sustained growth in this area. I think that's just tied to some of the, growth going on with different businesses and also trying to be, city trying to be more intentional in terms of requiring this stuff. I think for some period of time, sometimes businesses and residents would circumvent these requirements, but we've been trying to be very intentional in terms of what goes on with that, and trying to make sure we encourage and enforce the building code to ensure people are getting these permits in a timely fashion. So, we just laid out here what we think is going to be the the amount of revenue generated from there. This past year, we did have a pretty significant fee from, I believe it was from the developer for the Inkster housing project. So it's kind of a one-time large fee so that's the reason why the projected revenues for this year are a little bit lower than what we're putting in for next year. Okay.
Any questions for Bill? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Councilwoman.
Demolition, what is that for? I mean, I understand the word, but that's a lower.
Yeah, I believe that's any type of demolition goes on, there's a permit that has to be pulled for that.
Okay.
Anybody else under I'm sorry, not demolition, under building? No. Alrighty.
Next is 721, which is planning. And they have a few permits and applications that they will charge for. Not a lot, primarily for different types of zoning and site plans and that kind of thing. And you can see, we put in a few line items for that. Not a high dollar figure. Next is 727, which is economic development. We have listed on here the sale of land. We got two items. One is the sale of land, and that's any type of city-owned property that may be sold, as well as when we sell vacant lots and that kind of stuff. And then the next one is a FROR. That's the first right of refusal. Those are going to be the foreclosed properties that the city receives from the county by exercising its first right of refusal. Those are generally going to be offset on a dollar-for-dollar basis. So the revenue that you see here is offset because we have to send that money to the county for purchase. We do charge the transactions with an administrative fee in order to process that, but here we're just listing the revenue that comes from the actual sale of the property. Okay. So that's pretty much it on the revenue side. Again, just a reminder that this does not include grant revenue. These are more what I would consider to be kind of our core revenues that the city is able to generate on a year-to-year basis. So that's it for revenues.
So at this time, go right ahead.
If I may, I'm sorry. For your Summerfest here projected.
Yes.
These are donations? What is this projection?
So the city is putting on the Summerfest in July. I think it's the third week of July, if I'm not mistaken. And so here we are trying to raise donations and sponsorships. So I'm trying to capture what we expect to generate off of that. I think, we've kind of got a lot going on with it, but we're trying to be a little bit more scaled back in terms of what we're spending this year on the Summerfest. So we're trying to raise some funds. We're trying to identify, again, different sponsors, and we're trying to manage, in terms of the cost, in terms of the guests and everything, the performers that we're having. So that $10,000 is money that we've gotten committed, or we expect to get committed for this upcoming Summerfest.
Are they doing fireworks again? They usually do fireworks. Are they doing that?
No, because that's like 10,000, isn't that? Yeah.
My goodness.
14.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I'll run around like some stuff.
So we are not doing that this year. Okay. So we're going to move on to the appropriations. Department 101, City Council. First up is the salaries. As you guys know, that's set by the I think it's the Compensation Committee, I believe is the name of it. And by and large, I just follow what was what you guys had approved from last year. So, if there's any thought to that. I know last year there was some discussion. I went through some of my notes. There was some discussions about a newsletter and some different things, communications that you guys wanted to do. I don't think we ever did that this fiscal year, but we try to keep those keep those funds available. I think I may have missed the conferences and workshops. So if there's a interest, I can certainly add that back. But that's something I definitely want to get your input. I just tried to capture pretty much what was signed off by you guys from last year.
Can we go? Excuse me. Can we go through this line, title by title?
Yep.
Under there?
So first up is salaries. That's going to be essentially what the 6 members of the council, not including the mayor, and the rate that's set by the compensation committee.
There's 4 different figures here. I was just trying to grasp. It went from 52 up to 71, back down to 56, 42.
So 42. That's kind of that's a year to date number. That number.
Okay.
That's just kind of year to date. That number should be the projected should be the 456.4. The 71,546. I did take a quick look at that. I think that's either an error or a correction from a prior fiscal year. And again, going back to the issue where we have times when the data is just not being captured correctly. So that $71,000 figure is something that, again, probably reflects a bad input, and will get cleaned up as we go through the audit process.
Yeah, didn't we get a raise?
Yeah, but that.
Not
that
to
be
know
it?
$71,000.
Yeah.
We ain't get that much.
If I had just did the, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that number's.
Okay.
And the only thing I was thinking of, Councilwoman,
52 to
is
56 makes sense.
if that, like part of that went from one fiscal year to the other, but it don't, the numbers ain't adding up.
Okay.
Cause then the rest of the year should be all the same as that 56,400. But yeah, that's gotta be an error. Either that or somebody got paid out of our
Got a bonus?
line item.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody get paid out.
And the way that it works is, so as we process everything through through our payroll provider, every employee is assigned a department and general ledger account. And so if the employee somehow gets assigned the wrong number, it can show up in the incorrect account.
Gotcha.
And so something like that it kind of stands out. Again, as we go through the audit process, we'll be kind of verifying those those figures and making sure that those numbers are properly accounted for.
Office supplies.
I don't think, doesn't look like you guys really incurred anything on the office supplies this year, but we had a small allotment just available for, those types of things for the council.
Chairs be included in that?
So do you, on the other page, under special events, what is special events?
So that can be, and I'm not sure what all was booked on that, but just for I know generally speaking, this may not be specific to council, but like state of the city, if we do like the Memorial Day parade, a lot of times that'll be booked, but it's usually going to be some type of event that has a citywide focus on it. Like I say, there's about $2,700. Excuse me. There's about $2,700 that was booked this current year. Let me just look that up real quick.
And we're not giving the workshops this year.
What you mean? Oh, like it's not budgeted for?
You didn't budget it.
Yeah.
We didn't get budgeted for our workshops, and somebody went to a workshop.
I guess because.
They're going to put some money back in there for that.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Want to see? Let's talk about that.
Okay, so
Who said catfish? What?
They don't want. They don't want.
What you say?
They don't want no.
The menu for Friday.
I heard that. Go me. She making them this week for the breakfast. You know, I can ask her. She's providing some kind of dessert in the catering. You talking about the breakfast we doing? Yeah. I'm just trying to pinpoint.
oh, looks like we had a charge for Inkster Housing Resident Council.
What kind of charge?
A charge?
For, the question was about the special events.
Yes.
So I was just going through.
Like the Easter egg, yeah. Remember we approved like
Um,
60 or something?
Yeah, 1650.
Oh.
That makes sense. And then all the other stuff we approved.
Yeah, I guess as we didn't formally say this is coming out of this line item, it didn't register. That makes sense. As long as you didn't say what they did one year. So, oh, that was for the Christmas lights on Michigan Avenue. It's like, what Christmas lights?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
You didn't see that?
Huh?
You didn't see that?
No, I'm saying that one year when they were popping the geocodes up on the screen, and when we talked about it, I was like, when did council talk about we were gonna do the Christmas lights? So that's all. We good. I mean, okay. Well, this is some time back. This one, you know what I'm talking about.
And one more question, Darren. This, which one? The conferences and workshops.
Yes.
I think you guys, they didn't include any recommended budget for this year.
There's 2,500. I think I missed the. Okay, I missed the conference. That's the one I missed. Okay, I got
That's right, you did
2,500
say that.
advertising.
Okay,
I'll
okay.
add that back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right,
make sure
thank
that's
you. I'm
included.
done with
I just
you.
missed that.
All righty.
500?
That should be under recommended.
It's 5,000, right?
5,000.
Yeah, 5,000.
2,500 to print and advertising.
Okay, all right.
I was about to say, because we did that Wayne Westland School Board meeting, and they put almost a moratorium on their stuff about conferences and workshops. About if you've been to one national, you don't need to go to another one for 3 to 5 years or something like that.
Well, that's, the money, I understand that. I can understand that, the money is.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, then the last item is the subscription memberships, like Michigan, I think Michigan Municipal League.
A mailbox. It's a good plug for your mailboxes, guys. Don't forget to go in your mailboxes this evening.
Okay.
Clerk put the MML handbooks in there for us. So MML, who else do we get stuff from? SimCog.
MML,
Telegram. Is that still one?
We ain't had nothing in a while.
Gotcha.
Is she still doing it? Gina? We didn't have one. Remember, we used to get one all the time.
The paper?
Oh,
I can start back putting them in there if you want.
Oh, okay,
She put them on the counter,
okay.
Oh, I got you.
but I
Okay.
can start back just taking one and putting in each mailbox. If you
Okay,
want.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You want a telegram too? I can do everybody.
Yeah, there's a couple more. I'm not able to find. I'll get a list of those for our next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Left-handed?
Okay, so anything else on council? I've noted to make the correction on conferences and workshops, and then a breakdown of the subscriptions and memberships for Department 101.
Any further questions, anybody, about the expenditures for council? Alrighty, moving right along.
Next is 136, which is the court. Primarily, is that court? Am I tripping? Okay, all right. Y'all shouldn't have fed me. I'm getting a little. So we've got the salaries there. They have had some vacancies, so they're kind of trending below what they were budgeted for. A little bit of overtime is included in there. And as we go through, the group insurance is oftentimes a moving target. It's, people come, people go. Different people have different family situations. So sometimes a person with insurance that has a spouse and dependents may leave and they're replaced by a single person. And so those costs may go down and vice versa. A single person may leave and get replaced by someone with a spouse or dependents. So those figures can kind of fluctuate, but we try and track those on a employee by employee basis. We do have some pension costs that are over there across the board on a pension because of our delay in getting the audits completed. Some of the pension numbers, I think I've tried to, if I'm going to not have the right number, I've tried to overstate what the cost may be. Because generally, as part of the audit process, they go in and give us an estimate on what each particular pension cost will be for a specific department. I know in this instance, they have had some changes in the employees, so there's a likelihood that because these employees in the court that are still tied to the pension, we only have a few employees that are still remaining in the general employee pension. Probably about, I think, 6 or 7 employees. And so I believe one of those employees has or will be rolling off of the pension. So we may see lower costs associated with that in the upcoming fiscal year. And then we've got some things. They have been doing some work over there with computer services. The state has made some requirements of them in terms of how they report over there. So we've continued to provide funding for that. And then you see some monies for temporary judge, magistrate. Those things are brought in anytime the judge is unavailable, out of town, and the like, just to keep the docket moving. And then we've got conferences and workshops, and then lastly, the contribution for MIDC grant. That stands for the Indigent Defense Council. That's the basically people who can't afford an attorney. The state provides a grant. We receive those monies, but this is where we pay a city portion, a matching portion for that grant to cover public attorneys for defendants at the court.
Mr. Carrington?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chair.
Go right ahead.
Under the utilities, It
Yes.
was an activity, so where is that line item moved to?
So that 410, 48 was, somehow, I'm not sure what was booked in there. Because the utilities are over at the the Justice Center, we don't split those between departments for general
Okay,
fund
okay.
purposes. So that was some kind of one-off charge that hit their books, that probably was, either mischaracterized or was something that was deemed to be a utility that could go elsewhere, because there's usually no activity in that account. All of our gas and electric, we book that centrally for general fund.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else to my left at this time?
Yes.
Go right ahead, Councilwoman Richardson.
Lefty. The conferences and workshops. Why do they get more money than we do?
I'm sorry?
Why do they get more money than we do for conferences and workshops? There's more of us.
It's primarily, I believe, the judge. I mean, that was, generally her request. She's pretty much spent those funds, judicial conferences and the like.
For her.
For her. It's primarily, I believe it's primarily related for the judge.
You're going to have to become a judge. Okay.
Anything else at this time? Councilwoman Richardson?
No, that's it.
Okay. Anybody to my right?
I had a question. The office supplies and professional consulting, that's been boosted up heavily. Is that just because of the upgrades that you mentioned that they have to?
Yeah, yep. So they've had to do some IT-related stuff over there, and they've kind of started doing their own thing in terms of their IT. When I say their own thing, not fully utilizing the city's IT backbone and the city's, IT department. And so there's been some costs associated with that, as well as some of the things that some new requirements that the state has put on them.
Anything further? Excuse me, I do have a question. So, and I'm sorry, you just had to keep giving me clarity on these things. For the courts, the expenditures and revenues, is that in and out? Because I heard you say, like, and I'm gonna just use computer services. And when I say in and out, like, this is what their budget, and they spent it, it's just documented, and then this comes in as well, whatever the case may be. But like, computer services, and how you said they're starting to do their own thing with IT. When you said we're paying for that, is the city itself out of general fund, or the
No.
court's portion of the budget that they control?
So the district court is pretty much funded by the city. So all of the court's expenses, the state covers, I think, a large portion of the judge's salary, but other than that, the city funds the court. So all of these expenses are coming. Now, they're offset by the revenues that come out of the court, the fines largely, but, the court expenditures, the expenditures that the court incurs, their employees and all that, those come out of the city's general fund.
And so that leads me to
They losing money.
when, and this is just an example, but utilities, for instance, trying to just word this right, and I'm gonna just use this as an example, but say, is coming into the building, and like, it's not split, like, we know for a fact, like, police departments, that's our side,
Yes.
right? That's the city side, but the court's jurisdiction falls under the Michigan courts.
Follow you, yeah.
But the utilities come in and we pay for DTE for both sides. But if they decide, well, we're gonna start keeping our lights on 24/7, the DTE bill goes up.
Right.
But we're saying cut your lights off so we could decrease this bill. And they said, no, we're not gonna do it because this is our side of the building.
Yes.
How does that work with the budget? Like, I mean, we
Yeah.
approve so much,
So,
but
yeah, I mean, I think I fully understand your point. I think one of the things is, and I don't know if this is the official thing, but generally it's somewhat of a balancing act because the court is generally viewed as an independent entity, but at the same time, the city funds it. Now, you know, you can say we want to not fund Department X. Can't get away with that with the court. Like I know like at Wayne County, there's been lawsuits between like the prosecutor and the county because they felt like they weren't funding them to the level that they need, and they're considered to be, you know, that they feel that they have some kind of constitutional, quasi-constitutional role to play. And so to your point, like we don't really, the city doesn't have a lot of direct involvement with the court's operations, like HR and stuff like that. They tend to, you know, do their own, you know, I shouldn't say do their own thing, but they tend to operate fairly independent. Again, I think it's because there's always, you know, whether it's at the federal level or state level, there's always kind of a belief that the court should be independent and not under the thumb of the executive departments. But at the same time, the funding does come through the city, and you guys have to, you know, decide how much funding that they have available. But, you know, I think those are all kind of relevant, you know, discussions. Like, well, what if they don't want to act in a way that you deem responsible and try and spend monies beyond what you think is reasonable? Yeah, I mean, those are always things that could come up. I can't say, you know, I do think that, you know, this court, the 22nd District Court, and, you know, Judge Johnson, you know, generally is a pretty reasonable, practical person when it comes to how they expend the money. But when it comes to, you know, like salaries and certain employee rules and the like, they do set their own things in that way. You know, we provide the funding comes through the city, provided by the, you know, it's provided by the city, it comes through the city, but we don't really have a lot of interaction in terms of operation. Court, you know, administrator doesn't come to city staff meetings. They don't, you know, because they don't report to the mayor.
No, that's fine. I was just curious. I was just trying to get a little bit of clarity. That's all. I wasn't, you know, you're not put it out there saying that Councilman Chisholm was trying to cut y'all.
No. But I mean, it is a unique situation that it's the one department that is pretty much fully funded by the city, and you guys appropriate those monies, but you don't have, you know, don't really have the ability to kind of dictate how that money is spent the same way that you do in other departments and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else with questions under court? All righty.
Next is the Department 137. As I mentioned, there's not as much activity going on with there. At one time, we would kind of separate these employees, and as time has gone on, we've kind of just put them all into Department 136. And so kind of pending some of the you know, final audits and numbers and everything, I think we're trying to capture all of that within one department. There was a time where I think a lot more was being tracked separately, but for the most part, we're kind of putting that into the Department 136.
Any questions, anybody?
No.
Nope. All righty, moving right along.
Next is 171. Man, you testing me on these. 171 is mayor. That's the mayor's office. Mayor's office. How soon I forget, right? So we've got 3 employees there. For the last couple years, the mayor has been using basically a part of kind of a less than full-time assistant. She has recently left the city, and we've had to find a replacement. That person's going to be a full-time employee, so that's one of the reasons why we're seeing kind of the increase in cost there. Because I think we were getting the prior assistant at a pretty below market, what I would consider to be a pretty below market rate. And there was no benefits associated with that, and so now we're having to to add to that. And so the mayor's been doing recruiting and interviewing for that, but it will be a full-time employee where it had previously not been it was less than full-time. She was doing like 64 hours a week, and now we're going to be replacing it with an 80-hour benefit employee. So that's really the main change that is going on there. We do have some monies in consulting. Because we utilize some media and communication stuff. Then we also have our lobbyist, GCSI, and then we've got some items for printing and advertising, conferences, and the like. And city calendar is also listed on there.
Question for the lobbyist part under activity. And we know, because it had been brought up under different administrations about it being $35,000. What are we getting? I see one spot where it says 53.5, but then it went back to 35. What happened with that change?
I believe that was probably just timing of payments. Payments were some past due payments were made from prior years, and then I think we've kind of evened out the timing of the payments. I believe they're on a $3,000 monthly amount for our lobbying services.
I do, Chair.
Right in.
So if this is going back, but it just came to me.
Yes.
So in the council fund, I know we kind of spoke about potentially doing like application process for community events, because we're just kind of like willy-nilly approving that. Would that be something that comes out of, so I know we put like 5,000 for special events, but if we want to increase that, that's something that we could do?
Yeah, I think that's where you would
And that's where I put
yeah,
it?
we'll put that
Okay,
put that
so
change there.
maybe it's something we can talk about, just potentially doing like a application, since like maybe it opens July, I don't know, 5th or whatever, and then these city organizations can just apply for funding. They can tell us how much they expect, what it'll be used for. So that way, one, we can spread the love when it comes to like funding. And then two, so we can just kind of limit, the asks. Like we can say, this is what, and then once it's spent, it's spent. Yeah, but that's just a food for thought since we're in budget season. We don't have to like talk about it today, but I just want to put that on you all's radar.
Gotcha.
And I'm proposing maybe like 10,000 for it instead of 5, just depending on, just to give a cushion. We don't have to use it all.
This would be under 171.
Yeah, I think so. Whatever council is, it'll be under council.
No,
101.
101.
101
Expenditures.
751.
Yeah. So right now we have 5,000 allotted. I was thinking we could increase it to
Mayor, for
10
council.
if we have the money.
Oh yeah, 101.75 when I see it.
You're unserious.
Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 8:24. Oops, let me see where we at.
I did have a question if she was through.
Yep, I'm sorry. Yep, I'm done.
Right ahead.
Okay, you mentioned something like, in the mayor's office. I thought you said there were 3,
3 employees.
and who would that be?
So we have the mayor, we have his assistant, and we have Mr. Troy Seaton.
He's still up under the mayor's?
Yes.
Oh, sure, okay. Okay, I got it, thank you.
Alrighty, anybody else at this time regarding 171? Any questions, comments? All right, Mr. Carrington, let's go ahead through 215. I believe that's the clerks.
That is the city clerk.
Yep, let's get our magnifying glasses out, everyone. But let's go through that, and then we will go ahead and
She
move.
did request a chauffeur driver that I did not include.
That's part of her deputy clerk duties.
She tired of riding around. Go on, girl.
But yeah, let's get through that part, and then we'll complete the agenda for
Okay.
this evening.
Great. So with the clerk, we've got, keep in mind, and clerk and I discussed this, I just want to make sure I was capturing it correctly, because a lot of times it's the even years that's not a city election year are when we tend to incur the cost. So this fiscal year, we will have 2 elections in August and November. Those are the primary and the gubernatorial and state elections. So we did take that into account in putting together these numbers. So there's two full-time employees, the clerk and the deputy. We also allocated some funding for a part-time person that works on an hourly basis. So that's captured there. Salaries temporary are going to be the amounts for the workers that tied to the election. So generally, people work a couple weeks before. We have early voting, and so there's costs that are incurred there, as well as people who work on election day. So we tried to capture that in that category there, for the 2 elections, August and November, for this upcoming fiscal year. Then we have professional consultant, voter registration, and equipment maintenance. And I highlight those 3 categories because those are generally going to be activities that are tied to the election and to equipment, testing, and the like for the elections and those costs associated with those. And then outside of that, we have some funds set aside for printing and advertising. That's primarily going to be advertisements that go into the newspaper, and then some training and conference workshops. I think that pretty much captures it. But the main thing I will point out are going to be the 2 full-time employees, 1 part-time employee, and then that we're trying to make sure we properly allocate funding for 2. It's not a presidential election. I think that's normally when it's the busiest, but the state elections do incur costs as well.
Chair, I have a question, not about the clerk's office. Why are we choosing to end at this point? Because we have this whole budget, and then we have like a whole bunch of other budgets. We have 2 people that may not be here on Friday. So could we go to 9:30? I know y'all don't want to.
Hey, I will stay here till midnight. It depends on who wants to stay here, because I don't care. I know people have been working all day and stuff. Some people want to get out at certain times, so it don't matter to me.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I just want to try to get through this as much as we can. That way, too, we give Darren time to go back and make the changes, and then he has to bring it back, and then we have to approve it by the end of June. So
that is the consensus of this body.
When do we have to approve this, the first week of June or the second week?
Technically it just needs to be approved by the end of the fiscal year. So June 14th is the second meeting.
Okay.
Unless you call a special meeting. So that's 2 weeks from Monday. Depending upon how many sessions we have, we would just need a few days just to kind of get things turned around and ready for the whenever you guys choose to vote on it.
Okay.
But can be June 14th at the regularly scheduled meeting, or if we don't do it then we're looking at having called a special meeting.
Because I would like to go on too, but at a certain time, your brain stops working. Everybody's been up early and tired.
We just talking 30 more minutes.
30 more minutes. I mean, but that's what I'm just saying,
we could hope some
You
questions.
tired, everybody been. I know I'm tired, and I ain't used to this.
Maybe we can
Anyway,
we could also maybe go through it as fast, kind of swiftly, and then if we have questions, we can also shoot them to you.
Sounds good.
And do
Yeah.
that. Okay.
All right, let's go.
Okay. You good with the clerk?
No, I did have a question.
Okay.
her one eye open, yeah.
The personal vehicle mileage, is that for training? Like when you go to
Yeah.
workshops or conference and training?
Yeah, and so sometimes we will break that out. Sometimes we just put it into education and training. Because I know we were going over this. I know there was some mileage that was reimbursed, but we put it into the conference or training. I think it was tied to training, and I just put it in. I
So you,
We did capture the mileage reimbursement, but I accounted for it in the education and training.
okay,
Okay.
she takes her
Oh,
own,
okay,
but she
okay.
should
'Cause I
get
know we had another
mileage.
one out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, okay.
Okay, 228 is IT. We have 2 employees that are there. Right now, we have a vacancy, so we have our IT director and a kind of a tech up under him that's budgeted. Position hasn't been filled yet, but we're still carrying that position on the budget. And then we account for our internet-related services. So we have, our internet service, our telephone, and that's kind of, we now use like an internet protocol type of telephone service. And then we have BSNA, which is our accounting system, and we will be making a operational change. We're going to be bringing our payroll back in house. We currently use DM payroll.
Okay.
We're going to be going over to BSNA, using their system, using their payroll module. That will create some efficiencies because right now we have to manually post our payroll stuff to the accounting system. By using the BSNA's payroll module, that stuff will automatically post right into the system and everything. So that's one change that we're planning to do at the beginning of the fiscal year.
Isn't that the system, Gina, you was using when you was? Isn't that the system you was using when you?
Yes, tonight? Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So that's pretty much it with IT. 2 workers. We got all of our internet provider. Phineas Cody's our IT guy. He does a great job of really, making sure we're getting the bang for our buck with all our services. And as you guys know, we just recently changed our internet domain. We're trying to really make sure we do everything we can in terms of cyber risk and all that stuff. Okay, moving on to Department 253, which is Treasury. We've got salaries, and I had run through the employees that are there. I'm going to provide that sheet that Mayor Pro Tem had requested with a breakdown of the employees. But in some instances, we split some of our employee costs between Treasury and the Water Department and the Water Fund. But we've got our employees that are captured there. We have office supplies, postage. We handle the postage meter in the copy room, and so we cover those costs there. We have our accounting services. That's the firm of Manor. Like I said, used to be Plant Moran. Now we use Manor for that. A lot of those costs are going to be tied to the audit prep. We try to limit how much we do with them on a day-to-day basis. We do utilize them on a day-to-day basis. They're not cheap, but we try to keep them limited to things that our staff can't do, and that is higher level work that is really worth the amount of money that we have to pay for that. But we're trying to keep in mind we're going to be burning through a fair number of hours tied to our audits for this upcoming fiscal year. We have some funds set aside for our audit services. We got the assessor. That's WCA. Mario is our assessor. We pay them on a monthly basis. We have some funding in there for conferences and workshops, and printing and advertising. Education and training, we're really trying to do more on that front, and I think we're going to be doing some more things in the upcoming fiscal year. And then lastly, we've got some funding in there for different equipment, and that is primarily it. The one thing I will point out is that we do have a we hired a finance manager this time last year, and so the state funded that for the first year, but now we're picking up the cost of that. But she does a lot of work, a lot of great work, and she really offsets some of the costs that we would be incurring with the consultants that are a lot more expensive for us to pay for.
Who's the financial manager there?
Her name is Regina.
Gina? Let me ask another question.
Please.
The accounting services,
Mm-hmm.
do we go out for bids for those, or how do you pick those, like?
So Manor was here when the new term started, and I can't recall exactly how they came about. They're based out of Lansing. I know one of the people that we work with is a former Treasury official. We're not required to stick with them, but we get good service. It's not cheap. But a lot of municipalities are having to pay for these kinds of services because just a lot more requirements on us, a lot more grants, a lot more of the water sewer stuff, the state revolving fund, all that stuff is very heavy in terms of reporting requirements, and so it's really more than we could look to manage internally. And then the big thing is the audit-related work. So if it wasn't them, it would need to be someone else. Right now, just because of where we are with trying to get better safeguards in place, get these audits finished, we don't think it's a good time for us to really be, kind of changing midstream. But they've been here since, I want to say 22 or 23. No, I think it was 23 when Plant Moran left. So that would have been right before the terms for the elected officials started. I think that was like late summer, early fall is when Manor came aboard.
I just remember back in my day, we had Alan Young.
Mm-hmm. For auditing, right? Yeah. And so the audit is something that we certainly will be looking at, putting out for bid, if not this year, then upcoming years. Generally, you're required every so often to change auditors. So probably by the time we're doing the FY27 audit, we're going to need to look at switching that out.
Okay, just a question. Mm-hmm. Thank you. A thought.
Anything else on Department 253?
No.
Okay. Next is 265, and that is building maintenance. So we have building maintenance is 265. We have a couple of employees who we capture their time here. And then we also have some of our related charges that we include in this category. So the two employees are focused on facilities management and the like, and so they split their time between here at City Hall, Public Services, the Recreation Center. Anytime we have a need, we try to utilize those employees, and so those costs are reflected there. The other big thing is our insurance, our liability insurance is included in that category that you see there. That's just going to be the city's broad liability insurance that covers everything, our liability, our buildings and whatnot. And then next we have our utilities, which is primarily going to be our lights and gas, separate from the street lights. I don't think that includes street lights in that category. And then, we've got some funds for building maintenance, which is, I think that includes cleaning, and what else is in the building maintenance category?
So the building maintenance is the central store for the city. So we capture all the departments, cleaning, anything they need in terms of building maintenance, they come through DPS. It's the same thing for the next line item too for equipment maintenance. We like the central store.
Okay. I don't think we included anything in capital improvements.
We supposed to paint
for the building. So we've been discussing doing the painting and the flooring at City Hall. We're trying to stay in front of some of the capital maintenance. And so those are two things that we've been discussing that we may, over the next week or two, want to see if that can be included in the budget. I think last year we had, but what was the 80,000 for?
Parking lot.
Okay, that was part for the parking lot. Yeah.
So this to give y'all some,
Okay.
And that's where we would put the chairs. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
this to give y'all some history. We moved in this building in April of 2007. And it's original, so it's time for me to do some upgrades here. It's 16 years old, 19 years old. So we gotta do the inside and outside, make some changes.
Parking lot?
Paint,
Some money.
we don't have money for the paint. Let's go be honest.
So if you saw, we just recently striped the parking lot,
Parking lot,
but the parking lot could use repaving. But it's
It's over $1 million. Because you have to restructure it, you gotta move the lights, and it's drainage underneath it we have to consider. Right.
okay. So that's pretty much it. Like I say, we've got all of our building related expenses in this category, as well as a couple people for city facilities that are
I
in
got a
there.
question. Up on a professional consultant, you got 7,500 and 75,000. Then it goes 7,500, 75,000. Is that an error in there?
That's a good question. We'll take a look at that and get that cleared up. Thanks for capturing that.
And then the lease payments. What's the lease payments for?
Copy machine.
Copy machines?
90.
It's not just copy machine. That's just
I
not
was
copy.
gonna say like 90,000 in copy
Not
machines.
just copy
Crazy.
machine. There's other stuff that we lease for the building.
It's a copy machine. Crazy. So really fast. So you're saying like the painting note that you just made. You said you probably put it under 75,000 instead of the capital improvement.
It's gonna be in both, probably both places,
Okay,
because we do it inside, outside.
got it. Okay.
But I could look back and see what I put there.
Okay.
I don't know, footnotes.
Sounds good.
Okay. Anything else on 265? So 266, we have our legal department. We've got, the city attorney, the Perkins Law Group is reflected there. And then we also have some monies to set aside for the judgment levy. Judgment levy for legal settlements. So generally, throughout the year, we'll have some fairly small settlements, things less than $100,000. Try to allocate some monies for that. Anything above that may require either a budget amendment or some type of judgment. Do keep in mind, we had a recent settlement of a case that will require a $100,000 payment from the city. Not sure if that's got to be made. That may need to be made before July 1, depending upon some other factors. But it was a significant. I don't know how well you guys have been updated on this, but it was a significant settlement. But fortunately, the city's only required to put in $100,000 against that settlement. So, but it is a payment that we may have to make it in June. It may not be made until July, but it's going to be probably within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
They're coming out of general fund, or they don't know yet?
It'll be general fund. It'll be general fund. Okay. Next is 270. Oh, we just went. Oh, 270. That is HR, right? Anybody?
Is that it?
What'd you say?
270?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, don't make it so obvious.
Okay, so we've got 2 employees that are there in HR. As I had mentioned at the beginning, as we were shoring up the city's finances, we had 1 employee doing payroll and accounts payable, and that was simply not a fair position to put that employee in. We split those roles. That employee is doing the, one is going to be doing the payroll, but we would no longer be paying the payroll company. So while we're seeing some increased costs tied to that employee, several things going on. One, they're going to be, taking the lead along with our HR director on bringing the payroll back in house. And then secondly, we were, really just not providing the level of services when it came to HR. Keep in mind, it's not only for employees, but it's also for retirees. And we just were not, given the level of professional service to our employees and retirees. And so, we feel pretty strongly that, we need both employees, not just because we're bringing payroll back in, but for us to be more responsive as people retire, as retirees, they call. We don't have a lot of new retirees, but just maintaining communication and maintaining the level of responsiveness with our within our HR department, again, both for current and future employees, is something that we think is really vital. Next, we've got.
Excuse me,
We really, go on.
I'm sorry. Who are the HR? May I have?
So the HR director is Kamika Garrett. She started about a year ago, I would say. She came to one of the council meetings, and then our HR generalist is Allison Davis.
Sorry.
And then, I'm Chair, for the education and training, I was just kind of wondering, like, why did it have such a big, like, jump? And, like, are we,
So we've had a couple of employee workshops. We've done some training. We put on a training for a lot of city employees.
got it, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we put on some for specific departments. And so some of that training will be a little bit more centralized and going forward.
That makes sense. I interpreted it more like their education and training. So
No,
that makes
that's-
sense. It's
that's
for like the
definitely-
citywide,
yeah.
okay, okay,
That's what they're providing for employees.
sounds good.
Okay. So next is 301, IPD, under the grand leadership of Chief Jenkins. So we've got our salaries. We budgeted $2.4 million last year. I try to look at both permanent and overtime combined. As you'll see, we're over on the overtime, but we're tracking under on the permanent salaries. I think so we got 2.8 combined that's budgeted. We're we're on track to come below that number. The chief has been managing around some vacancies and the like to get, the level of service that we want and need out there. Some of that will create overtime. We've got several members in the academy right now that I think will be coming. Why don't you describe those for us?
Yes, we currently have 5 police recruits in the police academy. They are scheduled to graduate this Friday. Pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
So, we're keeping the numbers the same right now for that. We got to see how things shake out with the new officers coming aboard, getting those officers trained. As I had mentioned earlier, we do have a labor agreement that is up for both of the police unions, so there could be some additional costs tied to that new labor agreement. And the other thing that I will point out is we have the pension costs. And so the pension costs have been not quite meeting the project, not quite meeting what's budgeted. But because we're still like an audit or two behind, I'm wanting to continue to carry those costs just to make sure we don't get hit with any kind of unforeseen pension numbers. We've been doing a good job of keeping up with our pension expenditures. One of the things is because employees, we've had a decent amount of turnover, those employees will cost us money, but they don't factor into the long-term cost. So I think that's one of the reasons why our pension numbers have stayed below projection, partly due to the turnover. The other thing I would kind of look at, we have some equipment allowance and some other like holiday pay. And so we have those numbers budgeted, but they are not reflected in the projected numbers. And that's primarily because of the way that our payroll has been kind of calculating those figures. Those figures were not being properly broken out from a payroll standpoint. So if you look at holiday pay, you'll see for the 25-26 projected, those numbers are really low. The reason is because those numbers are kind of included in the salaries category, and they weren't properly broken out. Those numbers should be broken out when we pay them. There should be a separate general ledger account so that that number gets reflected. As we move over into BS&A, we're going to be cleaning all of that up. As we go through the audit process, we'll clean up the current and past years, but you'll see that, both for holiday pay and for the equipment allowance, those numbers are a bit off because those costs were not properly broken out.
Is the clothing allowance, right? There's something wrong with that too.
I'm like, yeah, don't they get uniform allowance or something?
So we include equipment allowance captures both of those. There's two bonuses that are included in, I think it's gun. We call it gun and equipment. Yeah, they're all they're both captured in equipment allowance.
They don't get uniform allowance.
We don't. I refer to it as gun and equipment.
Yes, it's the same, uniform, but we.
Oh, it's the same, the cost is all incorporated into the one.
Yeah, we put those two into equipment.
They
It used to, it probably used to be clothing allowance. Now it's.
Okay, I'm looking at that too, all right.
Like 728.
And then it's $5,000 for everybody just for education allowance? That's the whole department?
So that is a
50?
that's a reimbursement for. So if a police officer takes certain classes, they can get reimbursed. Right now, the contract only calls for $5,000 per year. Okay. There's been some discussions about bumping that up because one officer could take all that money. But that's not for their training so much as it is for it's that education reimbursement.
That's why we need those raids.
Offset that cost.
Trying to get that meat.
Quick question. If we were to, and this is strictly hypothetical, do something similar to like the education repayment for like citywide
Yes.
and/or so that way if we don't necessarily put in the police budget to mess with like, I don't know if we mess with like union stuff, but if we put it like another 5 or 10, what budget would we put that in potentially for like citywide?
Probably in the HR budget.
Okay.
Yeah, I would probably say the HR budget is where I would guess it would right offhand where it would go.
Okay.
But currently we don't. I think police is because I don't think we do anything for fire, right? Education reimbursement, like for college reimbursement for if they take college classes.
$400.
Okay.
For
That's more of a bonus. Yeah, but like the Teamsters has a provision where if somebody takes a class, they can get reimbursed for it.
How
Yeah.
do you decide? So you just pretty much use it until you run out, or do they have to do you have a portion of it if there's like multiple people that want to do it?
So right now, the contract doesn't spell that out.
Okay.
So it's almost like whoever take classes and they submit it for their reimbursement, they get whatever the reimbursement is.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So I know in this budget contract, these negotiations, they're asking for an increase. So,
They wanna up it.
Okay. I mean, that's an option.
Because I think that 5,000 has probably been around for a while.
Can we give you like our wish list, and then you can kind of tell us like, yeah, nah, Lindsay, we
Yeah,
can't do
no,
that. Like, we
just,
can't.
provide a proposal on
Okay.
that, for sure.
Just want, thank you.
When you do that, get ready too, because Darren, don't just ignore your email. Every one of your questions are listed. We'll have a detailed summary.
I can't wait. I mean, I don't, you know me, I'm not like, yeah, but that's a no. Is it a real no, or is it like a, we'll see.
It'll be like no comma.
Right.
Sorry, somebody to my left.
Oh, just, yeah.
Councilman Richardson.
With the 5 recruits, how many officers would that bring us to?
with the 5, 26.
26 officers?
Yes.
26 sworn personnel. Then there's some non-sworn persons.
Detectives?
That includes
That includes the
detectives.
That
detectives.
includes the detectives?
Yes.
Oh, that's
So we're budgeted for 30. So once these five come on board, we'll have 4 vacancies.
Okay. Any other questions on 301?
Is that you?
Oh, I saw one thing on, or is it 301-885? Just correction of the spelling for community.
Okay, thank you, yeah.
I saw another one, I forgot to mention it though. I had it underlined on my paper, but I forgot where it is. I mean,
The, one thing did not include on the grant list, we also have the new animal shelter that's going to be going up. We haven't quite figured that out. I'm not sure if that's going to be complete. Not sure if that's going to be completed this fiscal year. I don't think it's going to be much of a impact operationally for this fiscal year, because we're probably going to be getting started sometime in July or August, and that's going to be a ground up. I don't have a time estimate on the construction, but that's something to consider. I don't know if you've got anything to add with that.
Yep, I think we are starting to work on a design again, because the initial site that we initially thought that we were gonna put the animal shelter, we ended up changing the site. So we have to redo the site plan. So that's something, I think we have a meeting tomorrow to.
It was
Yes,
supposed to
it's
be.
gonna over there, but initially, initially it was gonna be on DPS grounds, but Jerome kicked us out. He didn't want us over there. So now we'll be here at Trowbridge and John Daly. Yeah. No, initially,
It was going to be, this was at DPS, so the
initially it was at DPS.
initial plans were for the DPS side. Then we
Yeah.
moved it to here, primarily because of the public access need,
Yes.
right? So we're having to kind of revisit the site plans, yeah. Yep. All right, 858, do we want to go through 337, or are we done? The next. Okay.
3 o'clock, I don't know, but I know
Okay,
Friday is everybody's.
Hold on 1 second. So we're done with this for this evening, right? Okay, let's go now. We gotta get the public participation before we get to that part.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So do we have anybody for public participation at this time?
It's too late.
All righty, hearing and seeing no movement, we're moving down to item number 5, Mayor and Council communication. I know one item was to discuss the date. Does anybody from Mayor and Council right now have any communications before we get into discussing the future dates? Nothing? All right, go right ahead.
I don't know we originally had it at 10 o'clock, but me,
Yeah, I noticed it up, so whatever you all decide tonight, if you decide to cancel it, I need to do an official.
right, that's what I'm saying, we need to update, yeah.
I would say cancel it because 3 people aren't gonna even be here, so what's the point, Could you email
Yeah.
us the next set of
Yeah,
budgets or
yeah.
something, and then we can just go through, and then maybe next time we can come back with more questions and go through things a little faster. cut the lawn.
She out there.
Yeah, she said.
Timing, yo.
She said it's
Someone's
over.
had to take medicine at certain times, so you gotta set a reminder. All right, so
No, we're deleting Friday. We're canceling Friday.
we're canceling Friday, yes. And then we're gonna talk about some other dates that
Doing that
we,
tonight, or we doing that Monday? Monday's council.
Monday, council.
Oh my gosh,
Monday
I will
council
not be. We're gonna be here for that.
yeah,
Can
we
do
just
Tuesday?
have projected, just, unless y'all all pulling your calendars out right now, you can just talk to the clerk, talk to the treasurer about the dates that you have available, so, or whoever can get the consensus from us. We can go on availability. Okay, the clerk said she will send the email to us.
With a few days.
Okay.
See, so,
The poll.
Yeah, whatever you gather for the poll.
all right, all right.
And we'll go that particular route. All right, is that okay? Everybody, all right. Well, we are down to item number 6, adjournment.
Second.
Been probably moved and supported. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 1 nay. 9:01 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.
Oh, then it's just, I wasn't staying.